Hi everyone, I'm Dan Dilatori. Welcome to my second episode on my own channel here. Thanks for joining us this evening. I wanted to touch on something here regarding why I started my own channel, my motivations for being in the comic community, and just a simple sit-down chat with all of you here. First of all, I can't thank you enough. If you're sitting here watching this show, it means an awful lot to me. Since I fell in love with the comic community about 3 years ago, I've gotten very much involved. We all share a love and passion for comic books. I certainly do. It's really hard to describe the feeling that you have when you have comics in your collection, and there's no other love like it. So I've realized, and there's the older I get, that everyone needs happiness in their life, no matter what that is, whether it's family, friends, activities, any collection, including comic books. And comics mean an awful lot to me. And again, I've gotten very much involved with this community, and I just love this community. I started this channel because I had a number of friends that have asked me to do my own channel. I really didn't want to. I'm not I'm extremely technically challenged. You'll see the editing is very poor because I'm sort of making things up as I go. I don't have the best equipment, but still, I went forward anyway. And I want to shout out to my friends here. And if there's probably people I'm forgetting here, but I'm just going to go down the list here. Sith Lordley, Spine love you, man. I met him and his wife a couple years ago in Disneyland. What sweet people. When I'm on his show, Spine I treat his show like anything else, that it's his show, and I want to be the best entertainer that I can, because if you're tuning into his show, you want to be entertained. It's no different with Ian Hoodrat. He's also a brother to me. We've been very close friends. And so he gave me a start regarding my own show, the Comic Book Corner Show. I can't thank him enough for that. Same thing, when I do any of these shows, I do my damnedest to prepare for the show, make a good presentation. I use my background in media. I do have a media background, not a huge background, but it's enough to make a presentation. But I do this for you as well, because with all the stresses of life, and with as bad as the world is, we need things to look forward to. We just do. So I see this as my way to give back to the community. If we have a laugh, we talk about comics, controversies, whatever. If you're entertained and distracted, and if it brings you joy in your life, that's why I do what I do. I'm going to go down the list here. Hudat T. He's a guy that it didn't take me long to gain a lot of respect for. He was a rival at first on The Hunt, the Tony Sanders show, and then we became very close friends. I respect this man greatly. I'm going to recommend him often regarding buying and selling of comics. He knows the industry. So you'll learn this about me, that I'm not afraid to refer you to all these great channels, because they all have great content. I find myself spending way more time watching these comic book YouTube shows, these commentary shows and so forth, than I'm television or anything else, because that's what I'm interested in. I used to watch the news all the time. Even for a newshead like me, it's really hard to watch our world go downhill, and so I don't watch the news anymore. So I've turned to this mostly, and again, it's something I very much embrace. Let's go down the list again. The Tony Sanders show. What a great show! Another show that we dress up, we do some make believe, a lot of wrestling, and integrate our comics with it. It's just a fun show, and so I play the ancient one. I play the lawyer, and I'm currently the commissioner, the lead commissioner. I've introduced a few more characters. The lawyer's brother, who's a judge, who has final say. I've got the gavel and everything right here. I've got a wig here, and then a new character, or two more characters I'm introducing. This guy right here, I did introduce this on Sith's show. When I'm on Sith Lordley's show, I let loose. I have several glasses of wine. We're having fun here, and we all laugh at each other. Well, I overdid it one show. And Sith said, "Okay, I've got all these clips of you, so I'm gonna, and he loves Cerebus. Again, he's a brother. So I was so ashamed. I had my wife come up with this. This is a paper bag, and it's cut out with, the bag of shame. And I thought, this would be a great character. So this is going to be on The Hunt, the unknown comic collector. It's a great gag, right? So that works. That works for me. But anyway, as long as it provides entertainment, as long as everyone has a laugh with it, or educated about comics, because there's so much to learn. One thing I'm doing of late, looking at comic history, I think it's fascinating to see the comic market from the early 30s all the way to where it is today. The the artists, the writers, the producers, what they had to go through, and they didn't make a lot of money at the time. They just made a living. But we idolize them to this day. But that's my current fascination. Let's go down the list here. I don't want to leave everybody out. And forgive me, there's so many people I've met, and I love every one of you. Chris from Journos. Chris from Journos was one of the first guys I had run into on YouTube because I was looking up comic shows, and Comic Tom came up. Love Comic Tom. Great show. And then the next show came up was Journos. And Journos had a smaller show. He was just getting started. And I like to help out, reach out to people that, if they're starting a show. So I said, hey, Chris, I've got these extra comics if you want as giveaways to help grow your show. We're friends to this day. I've met him. He and Jeff from Comic Book Canada, they're sort of a 1-2 tag team. They both have their own shows, but they're connected to the Journos world. They're out in Sacramento. I'm here in California. So I went to go see him, and just what a great time I had seeing those guys. Newbie. The Newbieverse. Newbie was the first guy to let me on his show. That was over 2 years ago. I tease Newbie a lot, but Newbie's a brother. I love this guy. It's one of my favorite shows. He's on every Tuesday, and that spawned off the Kingpins, the comic Kingpins, FaceTime and Hyper. Two great guys. Again, I feel close to all these people, even though I've met only a few of them actually. BC Comics. What a prince, and the Kingpins universe. And these, by the way, these people I'm mentioning are not just my friends. These are people I strongly recommend that you watch their shows. They have great content. Everyone brings something to the table here. You can't go wrong, and before you know it, you'll be as addicted as I am. Thoro's another brother, and I was on a show with him. We did a political show that actually got banned because he was, I guess, too close to the truth. But anyway, I love his content. He profiles on a lot of new comics. Swaggle Haas is somebody I've been on the stream once. I've not been on a show. I'd love to be on a show. That man has great entertainment ability. I mean, when he puts a show together, it puts mine to shame. It puts everybody else's to shame because he's in the acting industry, and I don't know exactly what he does, but he knows how to produce a great product. It is required viewing to watch the Swaggle Haas show. Drew from Como Comics, that man's a walking encyclopedia of comics. And if you want to learn a lot about comics, watch him. Vancouver Chris, who's in part of the Newbieverse, good guy out in Canada, Nowhere Bound. I want to be on his show because we're roughly the same age, and I'd love to have a conversation with him because, again, that's a man who has an awful lot of knowledge, a very soft-spoken individual. Nori Jordan from Chris and Journos, from the Journos universe, just a nice man. Jaw from the Ian Hood Rat Show. He's one of what we call the Rat Pack. That's our show. We're now producing once a month on the Ian Hood Rat Show. So on Sith's show, because I'm on so many shows, I self-identified, and I hate that phrase these days, but as his unofficial ambassador. So I sort of roam from show to show to show, and I've always been a guest. I'd love to be, if people invite me on, I'd love to be on and talk about anything you want me to talk about regarding my knowledge of comics. And so I've asked Sith if I could be his ambassador. So I go from these shows, but I represent Spine Ticks, I represent the Ian Hood Rat Show, all these other shows, again, because I promote everyone. Now, with communities and with people, there are times when, your friends that know each other, they may have friction with each other. That's normal. That happens in every community. I don't have friction with people because I have no agenda. I just want to talk about comic books. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's no money involved here. There's no fame or fortune. I'm doing this because I love talking about it. I hope you're entertained, and I hope you have interest in this sort of thing. And I'm glad I'm doing this episode because if you continue to watch me, and I appreciate that you do, I hope to bring good content. I have been collecting almost half a century, and I've learned an awful lot along the way. And let me end it on this here. I want to do a teaser for our third episode here. I just landed. I am a collector on a budget, which is another subject we'll be talking about later on. Let's see if I can find it without fumbling through it. There it is right here. I got this past week. This is probably the greatest week I've ever had in comic book collecting. I got my slabs back from EGS, as I pointed out in the first episode, but I landed something I never thought I'd get. It is a Golden Age book, a Marvel book, and there are literally only 100 known to exist. And we'll talk about this in the next episode because there's a lot of things to talk about regarding this and its previous episode, issue 19. There are 2 issues in this series here. Also, only 100 issues of issue 19, 100 issues of issue 21, and they usually go for thousands and thousands of dollars. I found one for about $250, and it's this one right here, All Winners, number 21. This is an unbelievably rare book. This is, I believe, and we'll talk about this in the next episode, the last Golden Age appearance of Captain America. Because we all know he shows up in Avengers 4, out of the ice. The Avengers bring him back to life, and we know the story. But Marvel never did talk about the last episode or last issue of Captain America. It's sort of up in the air. I'm doing some research, and I'm beginning to think, and I can't prove it just yet because it's difficult to put together all the Golden Age information because a lot of it's not out there. You have to do a ton of reading and research and all that. But I'm leaning towards this character here. This issue here, All Winners, number 21. Again, it's a low grade. This is a facsimile copy, but this is genuine. This is I got it from mycomicshop.com. I hope you can see that. It has been certified by My Comic Shop. This is indeed one of those rare 100 issues. I got it for a fraction of the cost that most people will get, but it is nearly a complete book. It will be labeled at 0.3, but I have it in my collection here. We'll talk about this. There's more aspects to this book and also about how to collect on a budget because these comics are not getting any cheaper. Yes, they've come down from the big boom of 2021, but as we move forward with a very shaky economy and our love for comics is not going to go away, let me show you some of my techniques regarding buying on a budget. I put together an incredible collection with a lot of common sense and, again, a lot of patience. Everyone, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. I'll see you again in the next episode.